They knew this bean could replace your supplements, so they ignored it. A handful of dried beans, a jar, 5 minutes of your time. 3 to 5 days later, you're eating something with 6 times the antioxidants, 27 times the vitamin C, and nearly 4 times the folate of the original seed. No garden, no soil, no sunlight, no expensive equipment. This isn't a new superfood. It's a bean that fed entire civilizations for over 4,000 years. NASA sent it to the International Space Station. Researchers at Cornell documented what it does to your body, and it costs less than a cup of coffee to grow an entire week's supply at home. So why does almost nobody in the West do this? That's exactly what we're going to break down today. Walk into any pharmacy or grocery store and look at the supplement aisle. Vitamin C antioxidant blends, plant-based protein powders, folate capsules. Each one sold separately. Each one marked up hundreds of % from whatever the raw ingredient actually cost to produce. The global supplement industry is worth over $170 billion, and it depends on one thing: you not knowing that most of what you're buying already exists in whole food form, cheaper, more bioavailable, and easier to produce than anything sitting on that shelf. Here's the problem with isolated supplements that most people don't know. Your body didn't evolve to absorb nutrients in pill form. It evolved to recognize food, whole food, with all the cofactors, companion molecules, and biological matrix that surrounds a nutrient and actually helps your body absorb it. Research increasingly shows that nutrients consumed in whole food form are absorbed more effectively than their isolated equivalents. You're paying a premium for a copy of something nature already built better. The average American family spends around $300 a month on groceries. Add supplements on top of that. A decent vitamin C bottle runs $10 to $20. A tub of plant protein powder goes for $30 to $50. A month of mixed antioxidants, another $20 to $30. That's up to $100 a month in products trying to solve a problem that one $3 bag of dried beans could largely replace. And that bean has been sitting in the bulk aisle this whole time. The mung bean has been cultivated since at least 1500 BCE in the river valleys of the Indian subcontinent. Archaeological evidence puts it in Southeast Asia over 2,200 years ago. It spread through China during the Han Dynasty, became a staple in Japanese cuisine, where sprouted mung beans have their own name, moyashi, and sustained populations across an entire continent for millennia. Ancient Ayurvedic medicine called it the king of beans. Practitioners prescribed mung bean soup as the first food given to patients recovering from serious illness, the first food given to children transitioning from breast milk, not because of tradition, because thousands of years of observation showed it worked. And across all of those cultures, separated by thousands of miles and hundreds of years, one preparation method showed up again and again: sprouting. Indian households sprouted them. Chinese cooks sprouted them. Thai families sprouted them. Billions of people independently arrived at the same conclusion: something extraordinary happens when you add water to this seed and wait a few days. They didn't have labs, they didn't have peer-reviewed journals. They just watched what happened to people who ate sprouted mung beans versus people who didn't. Modern science took until the 21st century to explain why. And what researchers found should have been front-page news. Real quick, if you're finding this useful, hit subscribe. This channel is built around exactly this kind of information. Simple, practical, and backed by research that somehow never makes it into mainstream nutrition advice. Now, let's get into the science. In 2012, a research team from Cornell University and Fudan University in Shanghai published a study in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry. They sprouted mung beans under controlled conditions and measured the nutritional content at each stage of germination. Here's what they found. Vitamin C is essentially absent in a dried mung bean seed. By day 8 of sprouting, the sprouts contained roughly 24 times more vitamin C than the original seed. The seed didn't have it. The sprouting process manufactured it from nothing but water, air, and time. Total antioxidant activity increased 6 times compared to the dry seed. Total flavonoids, a class of powerful antioxidants linked to reduced inflammation and cardiovascular protection, increased nearly 7 times. The researchers specifically tracked a compound called quercetin, one of the most studied antioxidants in nutritional science. The dry mung bean seed barely contains it. The sprout is loaded with it. Now here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. Every legume contains what scientists call antinutrients, compounds like phytic acid and trypsin inhibitors that actively block your body from absorbing the minerals and protein in the food. Phytic acid binds to iron, zinc, and calcium in your gut and prevents absorption. Trypsin inhibitors block the enzymes your body uses to break down protein. This is why raw beans can cause digestive problems. Sprouting dismantles all of that. Phytic acid drops by up to 75%. Trypsin inhibitor activity falls by up to 39%. Tannins decrease nearly 6 times. So sprouting isn't just adding nutrition. It's simultaneously removing the barriers that would stop your body from using that nutrition. More good compounds created, fewer blockers in the way. At the same time, a separate study on folate found that 4-day-old mung bean sprouts contain nearly 4 times the folate concentration of the dry seed. Folate is critical for DNA synthesis, cell division, and fetal brain development. Doctors prescribe folate supplements to pregnant women. A jar of home-sprouted mung beans could deliver a meaningful portion of that requirement for essentially zero cost. The medical research goes further. Studies published in peer-reviewed journals have found mung bean sprout extracts showing activity against sepsis, colon cancer cell migration, breast cancer cell progression, and blood pressure through a mechanism similar to ACE inhibitor medications. These were published in respected journals, conducted at real universities. And yet, how many American doctors have recommended sprouted mung beans to their patients? 3 reasons explain why this never went mainstream, none of them complicated. First, visual bias. Americans are conditioned to think protein looks like a steak, a chicken breast, or a tub of powder with a bodybuilder on it. A jar of small white sprouts on your counter doesn't match that image. It doesn't photograph well. It doesn't come with a bold 20-gram protein label on the front. But 1 cup of cooked mung beans delivers 14 grams of protein. Sprouted, that protein becomes more digestible and the amino acid profile improves. Mung bean protein isolates have been measured at 87% pure protein, with essential amino acids that meet or exceed World Health Organization requirements. The protein is there, you just weren't shown what it looks like. Second, it can't be monetized at scale. A 1-pound bag of dried mung beans costs $2 to $4. That single bag produces 10 to 15 pounds of sprouts. At grocery store prices, mung bean sprouts sell for $2 to $4 per pound. You just produced $20 to $60 worth of food from a $4 bag using water and a jar. No corporation can build a profitable supply chain around something that multiplies its own volume by 10 in your kitchen. No processing equipment, no preservatives, no transportation infrastructure needed. Every middleman between you and your food loses revenue when you do this yourself. The global sprout market is worth $4.5 billion. People are already buying mung bean sprouts in plastic packages at the grocery store instead of growing them at home for pennies. The product exists in the market. The knowledge of how to produce it yourself was simply removed from the equation. Third, it doesn't survive industrial food logistics. Fresh sprouts last 3 to 5 days in the refrigerator. You can't ship them across the country like frozen chicken or canned goods. The industrial food model depends on products that survive weeks of storage and cross-country transit. A food that's best eaten the day you grow it naturally favors the home producer over the corporation. The system doesn't need to actively suppress this. It just ignores what it can't monetize. And consumers never learn what they were never taught. If you start sprouting mung beans at home, you simultaneously stop buying synthetic vitamin C supplements, antioxidant capsules, processed protein powders, and packaged sprouts from the grocery store. That's revenue leaving 4 industries at the same time, multiplied by every person who learns this, multiplied by every household. No secret meetings required. No coordinated suppression campaign needed. It's simpler than that. Nobody in those industries has a financial incentive to teach you this, so nobody does. The doctor who recommends sprouts generates no revenue for any lab. The nutritionist who teaches sprouting sells no product. The public health campaign built around this gets no corporate sponsorship, The knowledge wasn't banned. It was just made economically invisible to every person who could have spread it. In June 2021, a SpaceX Falcon 9 launched from Cape Canaveral carrying an experiment called Space Beans to the International Space Station. The payload included mung bean seeds, selected specifically for their protein density, nutritional profile, and fast germination cycle. That same year, Italian researchers exposed germinating mung bean seeds to increasing doses of X-ray radiation, the same ionizing radiation astronauts face in deep space. The sprouts didn't just survive it, they responded by producing more antioxidant compounds. The radiation stress triggered the plant to manufacture higher levels of flavonoids and isoflavones, the same compounds that protect cells from radiation damage. NASA's own documentation states that antioxidant-rich foods like beans would provide added protection against space radiation for crew members who eat them. The food NASA chose to test for protecting astronauts on a trip to Mars grows in a jar on your kitchen counter in 5 days. The same seed that sustained civilizations for 4,500 years, validated by Cornell researchers, tested in orbit, documented across dozens of peer-reviewed studies, sitting in the bulk aisle of your grocery store for a few dollars a pound. Nutritional independence doesn't require land, money, expertise, or equipment. It requires the knowledge that nobody with a financial stake in your dependency is going to give you. Here's exactly how to do it. You need a wide-mouth glass jar. A mason jar works fine. A breathable cover, either cheesecloth secured with a rubber band or a $3 mesh sprouting lid. Dried whole mung beans, available at any Asian grocery store or online for $2 to $4 a pound. And tap water. Measure a quarter cup of dry beans. Rinse them, place them in the jar, cover with 3 inches of water, and let them soak 8 to 12 hours overnight. Drain, rinse, drain again. Invert the jar at an angle in a bowl so air can circulate and excess water drains out. Keep it out of direct sunlight, twice a day, morning and evening, rinse and drain. That's it. Within 24 hours, you'll see small white tails emerging from the beans. By day 3, you have thick, crunchy, inch-long sprouts. By day 4 or 5, the jar that started 1/4 full is overflowing. 6 times the antioxidants, 27 times the vitamin C, nearly 4 times the folate, 75% less phytic acid. A jar, a handful of dried beans. 5 minutes to set up, 3 to 5 days to harvest. The seed already knows what to do. If this is new information for you, subscribe. Every video on this channel is built around the same idea, practical knowledge that works, backed by real research that somehow never made it into the mainstream. We'll see you in the next one.
The dal looks wonderful today.